September 23rd, and I can't believe it. It's moving very, very fast. But again, get yourself settled in. Thank you so much for being on. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share a couple of slides before we get started up, and then we'll move on to our presenter today, Mr. Mike Shapiro. So again, before we begin, again, bring your full attention to the Zoom, eliminate distractions, focus and stay with the conversation, engage and drop insights, and understand that how you do anything is how you do everything. So the $42 billion conversation with Mike Shapiro. So before we get started up, I always like to get our conversation started with a lot of energy. So we are going to be doing affirmations as a community. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, this is something we do every single Monday. And this is an opportunity for you to unmute yourself. And this is an opportunity for you to be a little bit extra loud. And this allows us our energy to just get grounded and settled in. That way we can be bringing our full attention to the Zoom room. So I encourage all of you to unmute yourselves for this exercise. I'm just going to say the affirmations, and all you got to do is repeat after me. And we're going to go through these quickly and powerfully. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Yes, we're ready.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, power up.
1, 2, 3, power up.
Power up.
1, 2, 3, power up.
1, 2, 3, power up.
High energy equals high income.
High energy equals high income.
Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better.
Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better.
Every way, I'm getting better and better.
Stronger.
Every day and every way, I'm getting stronger and
Stronger
stronger.
and stronger.
Every day and every way, I'm getting smarter and smarter.
Every day and every way, I'm getting smarter and smarter.
I'm getting
I
smarter
sign a
and
new listing
smarter.
today.
I
sign
sign
a new listing today.
I open a new escrow today.
I open a new escrow
today.
I was born to win.
I was born to win.
I will never surrender.
I will never
surrender.
I will always keep growing.
I will
always keep growing.
I was born to be great.
I was born to be great.
Today will be the best day of my life, no matter what.
Today will be the best day of my life,
no
matter what.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for playing full out and saying the affirmations. Please go ahead and mute yourselves in the background. Thank you. I've been doing these affirmations for over 15 years. A lot of the words that I said for a long time, I didn't believe them until I started to embody them over time. So it is going to take a little bit. Also, I know for a fact that gratitude is an abundance multiplier. So I want us to flood the chat with at least one thing you can be grateful for today. I'm so grateful to have Mike here as a special guest on our call today. I am so grateful to have each and every single one of you listening in and tuning in from wherever you are around the world. I'm so grateful to have woken up. I'm so grateful for my health. I am so grateful for the ability to see, for the ability to hear. Drop some insights of gratitude into the chat. Drop some insight. At least one thing you could be grateful for today. That way, we can all share our gratitude. I practice this in the morning, and I also practice this before I go to bed. I always get centered, focused, and connected to what I'm grateful for, because what happens is it alters my attitude, my mood, my energy throughout the day. So thank you so much for participating and playing full out. I appreciate you guys dropping in the gratitude, at least one thing, because I think at the end of the day, no matter what is happening in our lives, we can find at least one thing that we can be grateful for. And if you have a challenge, finding that, I mean, it just picture, think about this, you woke up this morning. That's a lot to be grateful for. Now, I also want you to visualize. This is an opportunity for you to close your eyes if you can. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. But if you can, this is an opportunity for you to visualize 12 months from now. You've accomplished all of your goals, all of your dreams. You've signed all the listings. You took this powerful, luxury class today with Mike, and you implemented a couple of key strategies, and now it's made a profound impact. What does your bank account look like? What is the car? What kind of car are you driving? How are you dressed? Who are you hanging out with? Where around the world are you? What kind of home are you in? Visualize yourself, because the visualization, it's like a preview. It's a preview for your future life. And the more that you can see it in the mind, the faster you can see it in your reality. So thank you guys so much for playing full out in that exercise. And then this is just a quick little breathing exercise that I like to do. I like to do this actually before I pick up the phone, before I do a presentation, before I get a call. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to have, because guys, I don't know if you guys really, really know this, but being present is such a superpower. It's such a superpower to be present, because when you are truly present, you can really be an impact to the other person on the other side. So I encourage you to just practice this breathing exercise before you pick up the phone, before you're going to do something, because it's going to make the profound difference in your impact. So all we're going to do is breathe in through the nose. We're going to exhale through the mouth. We're going to do that 6 times. And at the last breath, we're just going to hold it and let it go. Okay. So we're going to breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Hold it. And let it go. Whenever you're ready for that, I automatically feel a little bit more centered and focused and grounded. Also, guys, it's so important for you to read your goals every single day, right? If you can't hit a target that you don't know you're going after. So our target as a community is to serve 21,000 families, $10 billion in volume, and to attract 10,000 agents to our community. Our vision is Let's Grow Movement is to be the leading catalyst of transformation in the real estate industry. We aim to cultivate a global community of highly skilled, innovative, and successful real estate professionals who not only achieve their own ambitions, but also contribute to raising industry standards. By harnessing the power of advanced technology, continuous learning, and a network of motivated agents, we strive to create a legacy of empowerment, abundance, and a collective of success. Through our efforts, we envision shaping a future where every real estate professional has the tools, knowledge, and support needed to thrive in an ever-evolving market and make a positive impact on the world around them. That's our vision as a community. So let's just dive in quickly here to a local market update. If your market is not showing up here, please use your MLS. This is where I got the data. And I encourage everybody to do this so you know your numbers. What's happening in your local market in the last 7 days? These are the actives, pendings, closings, average days in the market, and the sum total of sales closed in the last 7 days. I want you to look at this. Look at the numbers. $1.3 billion closed in LA, $600 million in Orange County, $226 million in San Bernardino, $320 million in Riverside County, and $558 million in closed volume in 7 days in San Diego. And look at the actives, 1,432 actives in LA, 423 actives in Orange County, 399 in San Bernardino, 689 in Riverside, and 632 properties listed in the last 7 days in just these 5 counties. So just these 5 counties, if you look at the numbers, that totals out to $3 billion in production, 2,800 properties, and $76 million in commissions paid approximately. So if I was you, when I see these numbers, I get excited because I understand, I get connected to the possibility of what is actually reality. Don't pay attention to the media. Don't pay attention to all the narrative outside of you. If you could get connected to the numbers and what is happening in your local marketplace, and you could distribute this information to your customers, then people will see you as an authority in the public image, and they will want to do business with you. So make sure you know your numbers because that's going to make a huge difference for all of you. Also, if you're wondering where you can access a lot of these recordings, these updates, we have a private Facebook group where you can access a lot of these items. So make sure you scan this QR code, and it's going to lead you directly to our private Facebook community where you can access the recordings and also updates as well. Just going over also the trainings that we have for this week. In addition to this powerful training that we're having today, this week we have outlined 18 trainings, Monday through Friday, that are designed to impact your business in a huge way. So anything you want to learn about, you can find it here in our community. Make sure, again, you are connected to our Facebook groups and our chats. That way you never miss another opportunity. Skills Mastery happens every morning from 8:30 to 9:15. The gentleman that leads that, they're doing 130 transactions a year. Also, we're going to have a live event out in the Antelope Valley, which we're going to have the AV's finest Gems to Success. Very, very powerful training. And another awesome training that I'm going to be doing this week with my friend Eddie that invited me out to this. We're doing an event in Temecula, live training, and I'm going to be speaking at this event from 10 to 1. So if you are interested in going to this event, make sure that you do register. This event, I think, is almost sold out, but I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you in person at this live event. The other thing, we also have the top 100 real estate agents of 2024 hosted by LA Style Magazine. Actually, Mike, I believe, just got invited to speak here. I also got invited to speak at this event. So very, very powerful event that's happening literally this 30th of this month. So it's coming right around the corner. Make sure that you guys register for this event if you haven't done so as well. EXPCon is right around the corner. I'm talking about this every single week because I want to see as many of you as possible at EXPCon. It's one of our biggest events of the year, and it's going to happen October 27th through the 30th in Miami. Beautiful, beautiful location, and I love it. Every single time that I go there, I learn something that I take away, I bring back. Last year is actually where I learned a lot of more AI, artificial intelligence, and I took just one training, and actually I took many trainings, but one training I actually implemented, and it made a profound difference in everything I do. So that's all you need when you're going to a training. You need at least one thing that you're going to take away and implement. So without further ado, I want to introduce our special guest, Mr. Mike Shapiro, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about this gentleman. Mike's system is based on skills he developed as a market leader and a trader with the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. There he learned that the value of paying attention to what is in front of us, being present, reading the tape, and how to use information to predict behaviors, leverage opportunities, and achieve game-changing results and lifelong satisfaction. And the same method he used when he purchased a nearly bankrupt real estate firm in coastal Orange County and California during the 2008 Great Recession. And then he sold 10 years later to create the world's second largest Sotheby's International Realty brokerage with 1,200 agents and an annual sales volume of $7 billion. He also used his system to coach 1,000 real estate agents to greater success, including many who rank amongst the top 20 agents in the U.S. So huge privilege, huge honor to have Mike here, guys. I want to know if you guys are ready to have Mike present today, because I am so ready. I want you guys to take notes. I want you guys to take notes and drop it into the chat if you guys are ready to hear Mike speak. If you guys are ready to go, Mr. Mike Shapiro, welcome to the call. Thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Thank you, Leo. That's quite an introduction. Hopefully I live up to that.
I'm pretty sure you will.
So I really like an interactive. I don't know how many people are, quite a few people here I see. I prefer question and answers, but I'll go through my presentation. I think that there's two parts to this. One is not on the PowerPoint. One is the luxury. Anyway, you can pass that.
Okay, perfect. Do you want me to share your slide now or until afterwards?
We can do that. I can do we can do the luxury, and then I can talk about growth, because I think you're talking about everybody wants to recruit. I think most people are with EXP and real estate, so I could talk about that as well. So
for sure. Awesome.
Change slides. I'm sorry, Leo, you're in charge.
Yeah, go for it. I am Mike's assistant today. Let's go.
I appreciate it. So anyway, I learned, I started out on the trading floors in Chicago a long time ago, and gave me opportunities, first of all, to learn, and number one, and number two, it gave me a unique perspective on what I call reading the tape, which is an old term, and I wrote a book on this. How do you read a room, or how do you read situational awareness to maximize your results? So when you're on an exchange floor, you have literally milliseconds to make decisions on something that makes you money or lose money. Hopefully you don't lose money, and that's where I learned all this. So I took a lot of that money and became an adventure capitalist. I call it adventure because that's what it was. And in 2008, I had a friend who wanted me to back him in opening a brokerage in Newport Beach, and I subsequently, my wife was a real estate agent in Chicago, so I knew a little bit about it. He was in Arizona, and it was highly, like the summer was a disaster, so it was very difficult for him to sell during the summer. Also, this was in 2007. The writing was on the wall that real estate was going to be a disaster in Arizona and Nevada, and he wanted to open in Newport. So I basically invested. And then what I noticed quickly, I was just really an investor, I didn't know that I was going to run it, was that brokerage is really the trading floors of real estate. So I noticed quickly that wherever you work, whether you're in your own business or you're with a larger team, you're really kind of the trading floor. That's where all the action is happening. So that's how you learn. And it was really kind of similar to what I was doing. So at that point, I started to look at high levels of correlation between real estate and stock markets, and I saw just massive amounts of correlated behavior between what I was doing and real estate prices. At that point, after that, I sold it successfully, and I went into a tech company. And then after that, I seem to be a serial entrepreneur, and I've invested in many other things, which some of them have failed, some of them have succeeded. I founded Equity Forbes Global Properties, which is what I'm talking about today, which is part of EXP. So you can take it to the next slide. Sorry to go through this quickly. So I really went over this. My system is really built on situational awareness. So I think that your success in real estate, your success in recruiting, your success in whatever you're trying to accomplish is really built on being aware of who you're talking to and how you're perceived and what is the situation for you to accomplish that goal. I think it's highly, highly granular, and I think a lot of people just like don't necessarily read the situation correctly, and that's where they find failure. So you can move on to the next slide.
Okay.
So luxury real estate. Leo wants me to focus on this. Everybody wants to get into luxury real estate. Honestly, I think most of you are in California. Am I correct about that? I think.
Yeah, we have people from all over, but yes, a lot of people here in California.
Okay, well, first of all, I always like to say this thing, like, what is luxury? Like, what's the definition of luxury? And the definition of luxury really is everything that you don't need, effectively speaking, is what luxury is. But I think that in what's happening today is there are very few places nationally that are not in luxury. I mean, it's very hard to find things that are under $1 million. Although those of you in some of the parts of the South, maybe there's some prices under that. But for all intents and purposes, luxury is really the markets that no one needs to live in, for lack of a description. It's not a shelter play. So what does that mean? How do you attract luxury? So all of you are in this business to earn money. All of you are looking to earn lots of money. And what do you do with that money? Okay. And so there's lots of different validations that one has, and the same concept in luxury real estate. So like those of you who want to buy luxury cars, or those of you who want to buy luxury handbags, or those of you who want to buy, anything associated with, validation, or a watch. These are things that are driving the luxury market, even in luxury real estate. So towns, just like your watch, just like your handbag, just like clothes, are brands. And so these brands are literally senses of validation. There's many reasons that people want to buy, or how do you sell luxury real estate? So the number one reason I say that you need to do is your personal brand is imperative that is looked like in whatever market you're in, whichever is considered luxury, it looks like that pattern. So what in your personal market, what are people doing to say that they're have made it or validate themselves? Like, what are they driving? What are they wearing? What are they doing? So this is really, really granular. It's not one way. I mean, somebody who's an agent in Beverly Hills is going to behave a certain way versus someone who's an agent in Newport Beach versus someone who's an agent, let's say, in Seattle, which I have a company up there as well. In Seattle, I always make fun of it. Those of you who are from Seattle, I don't mean that negatively. I call it practice poverty. So you do not show anything. Like, you look homeless, and that's considered luxury. So I think that you really have to begin and saying, what is it that is in your market that people perceive as the validation of success? Secondarily, what do you do in luxury real estate? You can go to the next slide if you want. I think that the ultimate thing about luxury players is it's an asset, okay? It isn't just shelter. So I think the big line of what the differences are effectively, if someone just needs a house versus like, I want this house. So I think it's like a need versus like a want. So I think those are different equations. And I think you have to understand that market acutely. I think that luxury clients or high-end clients, or in whatever market you're in, are really looking to you to be a high-level professional. You really should know, just like Leo went over early on the stats, you should really know your stats cold, whatever that is. It may be down to a street, maybe down to, who has lived in these houses, what has happened over the last 10 years, what has happened over the last 20 years. You really should know your market cold. You should actually be able to, in whatever market that you're working in, be able to go down the street and price things pretty rapidly. I think all of you are professionals in the real estate market. It's always interesting to me. People take listings. You probably know what the price of the house is before you even walk in the house. And so I think that rather than doing sort of, I call seller assist, I think that you're better off explaining exactly what's happening and prove it in the metrics. So I think it's really important, as I said here, you must have a deep market knowledge and you're selling in. Plus, service is mandatory. This is an obvious thing to say. So people who are spending a lot of money have expectations of you giving the ultimate levels of service. And that means different things to different people. So this is, again, going back to reading the tape. Service to one person may mean constant emails, constant phone calls, constantly sort of guiding them, almost holding their hand through the whole process. And service to others may mean very much the opposite, where you're there before they even know it. You're giving them information before they even ask it. You know your client. So I've seen some agents are so good at it that they actually give the information before the client is even asking. That's what they want, and they don't really want as much interaction. So it is very important to understand that. Matriculating with, there's a bullet point, able to connect and matriculate with high net worth in clientele. Whatever the clientele you're working on, one thing that they share in common is they're highly educated in the area that they're in, or they're highly educated in the world that they're matriculating, or how have they made those resources. You need to understand and you need to read that. I always tell everybody that at my company, or the companies that I've run, or people that I coach, I want you to read the Wall Street Journal every day. I think it's a newspaper. You can get it online. You can get it in paper form. I think it's a journal that gives a definition of what is happening at that moment in time and is impacting your market and also the markets of the person that you're serving. So it's really important to be always up to date. So I really implore you to read the Wall Street Journal. I personally, it sounds like I sound like I'm out of my mind. I read almost 5 newspapers a day. Some of them are paper. I read the Financial Times of London. There's a US version. I think it's critical because our market does have a lot of international players. So I like to understand what's happening overseas. I read the Wall Street Journal. I also read the New York Times. New York Times gives me more of a political concept of what's happening, what people are doing. And then I read the local newspapers, the Orange County Register, which I effectively can read within 10 minutes. I don't mean any against the Orange County Register and the LA Times. So also, how do people get paid? What are the most important things of how people get paid? Creativity, I think, is really the road to wealth. And so I think that you have to come up with creative solutions and you must be innovative. I always say this in luxury real estate, it changes. So I have this little saying I say to people, and I go, things always come back, but they come back differently. And so this is a classic example of that. Markets are cycle in different ways, and we are now entering another phase. We're leaving, like there was a COVID phase where there was unbelievable amounts of liquidity, and really you could have thrown a dart and it could have sold a house, to where the liquidity was being extracted. And you even see on the stats that Leo just put out, that even though these are massive markets, there's relatively low transactional volume, to entering a time when they needed to withdraw all of this liquidity, to a time where liquidity is being inserted. As we all know, there's a 50 basis point move on the interest rates, and so subsequently we're entering another phase. I do think we'll have significantly more transactional volume, but keep an eye on what does that mean, and what are your clients looking for, and you have to be innovative. Like what are those changes happening? It's highly granular depending on the area. I can answer questions specific to your area if you like at the end of this. Can you change the next slide? Okay, so I said this earlier, personal business brand must be consistent with messaging. This is something that's critical. People make mistakes with this all the time. You must be linear in your approach. You can't be all things to all people and be almost sort of ADD. I think that the way you meet someone when they meet you in person, the way that your ads look, the way your social media looks, your narrative has to be all the same. It's really marketing 101. I think people make mistakes where they copy others and like, oh, that's not working. Let me copy this person. Let me copy that person. You're all individuals. Like I wrote in my book, everyone has an inner genius. You need to find what that inner genius is and maximize that. So you have to be consistent with your messaging, your narrative. It is really critical in almost every single business. You can see many businesses failing, not only in real estate, but you can see many businesses failing when the messaging isn't there, where the messaging is inconsistent with the person showing up at the door, or a person showing up at the meeting, or the message, or the advertising. So it's very important to have a linear marketing play. You must have that really intact. Also, you need to build relationships with the luxury agents and advisors. So what are you doing? So this is a classic problem. Like I always say, people come to me and say, I want to sell luxury. I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing? Well, they're not anywhere these people who have money are. So in order for you to sell, remember real estate specifically is a very hands-on, you're meeting people. It's a very tangible asset. This isn't something you just do over the phone. So where are you doing? Where are these people eating? Where are these people drinking? Where are they playing tennis or golf, or where are they working? Where they're working out? Excuse me. I always tell agents, like, everyone likes to work out nowadays. So like go to those gyms where those people are. So build those relationships. And then this is obvious, but I mean, people who have high net worths or whatever the net worth is necessary for the luxury specific market that you're in, they have advisors. They are going to people, and it's pretty easy to find those people out. Make relationships with those people. Invite them to lunch. Provide some differentiation for yourself. So once again, and this goes back a little bit here, and I'm going to jump around. There are two ways to compete. One way to compete is through price, as we all know. So there are lots of people like, my price is lower, so none of you probably want to lower your commission rates. And the other way you compete is through differentiation, and that's where you get a higher rate or a higher commission because you're providing differentiations. Also, you must attend. What do they say about success? Like 90% of it or 95% of showing up. So show up. Leo just said to go to the event in Miami. These are classic times where all of these events, and as annoying as it may be to attend some of these, force yourself into attending events, force yourself into attending events or dinners or anything associated with this. This can be even simple. Like if you have a dog, which you saw that I had 2 dogs, walking your dog in your neighborhood. This is how you meet people. Just walking in your neighborhood in general, or walking in a mall, or always being around or being present. You can go to the next slide, Leo.
There you go.
Oh, there's my, if you want my book,
Yes.
which is novelized. And I also have a podcast. I don't know if that is Karen, is that connected as well? I don't know if there's another slide or that's it.
Let's see.
So-
I think, yeah, make sure.
Yeah,
make
that
sure-
it is. That's your Linktree account that goes to your podcast and Instagram and everything.
So what I do is I've written a book on a lot of the things I've gone over very rapidly here. I novelized it so it wouldn't be boring. So it's a story, but it's based on actually 2 stories that happened to me. I find a lot of humor in my life. It's really part of my existence, where I think it's good to laugh. And so the podcast is built on the book, and I bring in young entrepreneurs. Sometimes I bring in friends who are very, very successful, and I take them through their stories and what made them successful. But I find what most people wanted was me taking a young person who was on their entrepreneurial journey and going through that. It's not only in real estate, it's in all sorts of different walks of life, but there's always a similarity, and that's fascinating. So I hope some of you will download and watch and listen to the podcast, which is on all of the platforms. And I like to make a joke on the podcast. I say it's all platforms that haven't even been invented yet. So anyway, the second part of this equation is many of you are in the recruiting business. You can take the slides off and I can just look at that. Thanks.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
there you go.
Awesome.
More.
This is one, I guess, one last slide with all your information here. Guys, make sure you guys, follow Mike on Instagram, TikTok, on his YouTube. Make sure you, subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's always dropping some amazing gems there. And there's also his Facebook page as well. So I'll leave it up here for a couple more seconds, and then I'll take the slide off here.
Okay.
That way we can get the dialogue of the conversation started as
So
well.
I'll just go over one little other area for everybody. So everyone is recruiting here. I assume most of you are part of EXP, and there's downline opportunities, and there's all sorts of opportunities to grow your teams. And so a lot of people ask me a question of like, how did I grow so rapidly in our market in Newport Beach? How did I don't remember if I had 12 or 14 offices. What happened? What really was the differentiation? So I'd say, like, first of all, timing in everything that you do is everything. So watch your timing. So like, this is a perfect example of where the real estate markets have been transactionally depressed. So it's an opportunity to really recruit. I think it was so depressed, it was hard to recruit, but I think we're coming out of that and people are looking for differentiation. So the key ingredient to growing a large team or a large company is, what are you offering? What are the differentiations you're offering? How are you branding yourself? In my situation, we branded ourselves with Forbes. We're called Equity Forbes. So we use an approach here in Newport Beach because brand is a big part of people's lives, whether what they're driving, what they're wearing, even down to a street. There are even sub-brands in Newport Beach in our trade area. And so subsequently, I needed to layer the agent's brand, which is most important, over another brand, Forbes. So when they walk into a house or when they're talking to people who are a Forbes agent, and it gives a sense of additional branding capability. I personally felt that the Forbes brand was more timely rather than some other brands that were going on in the luxury space, because I felt that people were really looking at real estate more of an asset. I've always thought this for a long, long time, but I think even more so after coming during COVID and after COVID, people really look at real estate as how do they make money with it. It's part of their wealth, it's part of their net worth. And so I like the Forbes brand because it was a media company that specifically was reporting on how people became successful, what is the best of the best, and they're tracking billionaires, and ultimately that is the best guide. I mean, everyone, the billionaires are reading this because like, am I on the list and where am I at and what does wealth mean today? And so it's defining that, and they're very, very good at it. So there's a lot of it's kind of funny because like existing social media play, I think has been for quite a while sort of aspirational. And so I think a lot of people look at Instagram, for example, and they aspire, and whether it be real or not real, so it's a sort of aspirational play. So I think even billionaires are aspirational. So I think even if you're top of the food chain, as they say, if wealth is what is everything to you, which it isn't, by the way, but if it is, they're looking at where they are on the list. And they number one, are they number two? And what does that mean? And what do I get from, what do I need more power or whatever it is when you're at the top of the food chain? So no matter who you are or where you are on that slotting of the Forbes list, that is what people do. So anyway, without further ado, I think that the growth factor is your differentiation. What do you need in the community you're serving? How are you recruiting the agents? What are you saying to the agents? What is your narrative? What is the sense of community? Leo is very good at a sense of community. He works really hard at it. I mean, I know for myself, Leo's the master of this. He answers the phone within seconds or responds to me. He understands what the communications are. So these are all like critical pieces of like recruiting or creating a sense of community. Also, are you responsive to agents' needs? Are you changing to agents' needs? I mean, we are on the EXP platform. It's an astoundingly successful platform where they respond to our needs rapidly. The senior leadership is always adjusting accordingly to make sure that it's, what does the agent population need? So these are very important pieces of your growth strategy. Also, people like it sometimes takes a long time. So like, don't give up. I mean, sometimes you should give up when someone said no like 30 or 40 times. I think ultimately, pursuing it, I know Leo and I have had many conversations. Leo, what's the longest person it took you to recruit? Like 2 years, 3 years? Or
4 years.
4 years. All right. So you didn't give up 4 years and you did win. So I think that this is an important part of growth strategy. Also, you are running a club, I hate saying a nightclub or a restaurant. It's important to sometimes get those whales in-house. There are always influencers in your community or in what you're selling. And it's important to recruit those people. Those people will then recruit others. So people like to be around other people that are successful, or they're like-minded, or they're culturally like-minded. So that's important as you craft your community to understand that and to also bring those people in. So that's really ultimately what I'm doing, what I've done in the past. How did I get to that spot? And also changing rapidly. Like I said earlier in these slide presentations, pivoting is a critical piece of understanding when to pivot, when to change the makeup of your company, when to change what you're offering. I think one of the hardest things to do is that when you're on the top of your game and you're literally at their top, like you can't get any better, that's exactly when you change. It's very difficult to do. I always go back to stock indexes because it's a large part of my career. And you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which effectively for the last over 100 years has pretty much been the top companies in this nation, if not the world. And there's not one company that exists on the Dow Jones Industrial Average that first started in Dow Jones. Maybe Exxon, or I may be one, maybe wrong. You can correct me if somebody wants to correct me. So what does that say to all of you? Nothing's forever. If nothing's forever, what do you need to do in order to be forever? I know that sounds ridiculous, but that means people are more. I love to use musicians like reinvent themselves, or there are several like superstars who constantly reinvent. Decade after decade, they stay relevant. What are they doing? They're changing their music style. They're changing their presentation. They're still themselves, but they're changing. So this is another piece of the puzzle of growth. And what do you do? And also, most importantly, never give up. So I can talk on for hours and hours and hours. As most of my friends say, I could probably talk to a wall. So I will leave it at that. And I love to take some questions and answers if that's that's something that you guys want to do.
Thank you, Mike. Very, very powerful, man. I'm taking a bunch of notes, brother. Appreciate you sharing all these nuggets. And guys, yeah, let's raise our electronic hand. You could do that at the bottom of the screen. All you got to do is go to the react section, and then that's where you could actually, raise your hand or drop your question into the chat, and we'll do our best to get through all the questions, before the session concludes here today. I know I've been getting a lot of knowledge, just on the short training that we've had here with you, Mike. So thank you so much for sharing all this great stuff. And I think, when somebody's thinking like, well, what do I have to do with luxury? You answered this throughout your presentation. What would you say is like a successful week if you had if you were, Mike, and you're a newer luxury agent that you're out there, so you're going to the tennis clubs, you're doing all these things. So what would you say is your ideal, I would say, structure for like the next 7 days? And actually, that's my question. But yeah, if you want to answer that, and then we'll go into the next question, because I think somebody has a question as well.
So you want me to answer what I do for planning out my week for the next 7 days?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that planning out your week for the next 7 days is really about being relevant. So in other words, you need to study what's happening, like what's going on in the marketplace. What are the changes? What are people looking at? What are people thinking about? So make sure that you're knowledgeable for that week. What is really on the agenda for that week? 1, 2. You need to look at the marketplace, your specific real estate market, what's happening in that market. I think that's really important to be up to date. What's happening from a financial point of view, what's happening, which agents are potentially moving, which agents are not moving, what are they selling. Make sure that you're aware of everybody, what they're selling, what they're not selling. I need to look at all these lists of like top agents for the week, top agents for the month, top agents for the year. I also would look at like, what is the narrative play for the week? Like, what are you telling people for the week? How's that changing? I try to have as many meetings as possible for my week, as many agents that I can meet, whether internally or externally for recruiting purposes, or for internal for make sure that people are happy and I'm being relevant is important for my week. I try to make as many lunches as possible to meet as many people internally and externally with agents or vendors. I find my week is very important that I meet with vendors all the time, whether it be mortgage or title or escrow, because they're the ones who are potentially giving you opportunities or giving you referrals. I think it's also important to continually, keep in contact with close friends. Friends are an important part and source, not because I love doing it anyway, but it is an important part of your ability to matriculate, and also they give you referrals. And I think that I spend some time also in, what does the future, as I said earlier, look like, and how should we craft this? Because I never look at it as where it's static, and I always constantly think about the potential pivots or what's happening in the marketplace. Like, for example, we've all gone through this whole situation with the changes in the real estate law, where the buying agents are, or when you're on the buying side, what the changes are. And I really kind of keep an eye, more so than I've ever done before. What are agents looking for? What are clients saying? Has it changed? Has there been some level of decrease in commission levels? Is there some way to solve those problems? So I would say week to week, that's probably consistent. And of course, I leave time always to meet others. I have one thing I say, I call them Mikeisms. I guess I can call it that. It makes me sound
Mikeism. Let's hear it.
But anyway, it's part of the book. I say take every meeting, take every call, and take every meeting. I don't care how big you are as far as being an agent or success or how wealthy you are. I think that the only way to learn, and everyone has something to offer, is take every meeting and take every phone call. I notice a lot of people, what happens is they become more successful. They tend to stop doing that. I really try to do that. And I think that you never know that walks through that door. It may change your existence, it may change your life, or more importantly, you may be able to help someone and change their lives. I always think that's another part of what I say is that you need to, I don't care where you are in your life, you need to always open doors and windows for people, always, because that comes back. I don't do it for that reason, but that comes back in spades. And if you can change someone's life, they will then change someone else's life. So that's another important thing that I talk about. Sorry, Leo, that was a long unpacked question for you.
That was so powerful, man. I took a bunch of notes on that. Thank you so much for answering that question. I see Miss Christina has her hand raised, and then we'll go to Mr. Clermont. So go ahead, Christina. You have.
Hi, thank you. So here comes some of the negativity I face when trying to deal with the luxury market. I live in Ventura. Santa Barbara County is 10 minutes away. Carpinteria, Montecito is like 25 minutes away, which is ultra luxury. And, my boyfriend grew up in Santa Barbara, and he says, the realtors that are successful there have been entrenched there. They're like handed down from their families. My best friend that lives there says, oh, we don't door knock here. You just got to make friends. And you mentioned like going to where they go, like gyms, and that's a little bit out of my price range right now because, I'm just getting started. So I'm thinking like, what's a good entry point, or, what positive ways can I get in there and, let people know who I am and what I'm doing, and really become a part of that market, because that's the market that I want to be in. I figure if I'm going to work 8 hours, I can make $24,000 in commission, or I can make $48,000 in commission. So I'd rather put my time towards that.
Of course. So this is a great question. Thank you for asking it. So I'm going to answer it in 3 parts. One, which you're not going to say you want to do, it's easier to live and then work in the same location in real estate. So you're not moving to Montecito. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that, but that is one way to do that. And if that's something that's in the cards for you or not. 2, regardless of your financial situation, there's that little street. I'm very familiar with Montecito. It's one of my favorite communities in the United States. And there's that one street, that goes to Main Street, where the little shops and whatever. You should be having lunch there.
Road, I believe.
I'm sorry?
Coastal Village Road.
Yeah, Coastal Village Road. So you should be on that road every day, okay? Because there are really no other areas that are center points for that trade area. So you should be literally walking on the road. You should be trying to have lunch on that road. You should be eating at the bar. I think there's an R&D there, or a Houston's or whatever. There are things that you can do where you're interactive with people. Also, you should be studying. What are they doing? Are they all tourists? Are they living there? You'll start to get a handle on this. It doesn't mean that you have to go to the gym, but you have to be around these people. What are they wearing? What are they saying? You can overhear what people are doing. There are a few hotels there. I'm having a drink in the bar. If there's the Rosewood there, or I forget the name of it. The Miramar. The Miramar is there. I mean, going down there, I'm even having lunch. San Ysidro Ranch is there. I don't know if the Biltmore is open, but these are center points for that community. Specifically, Montecito is a very low-key community. People seek that out, tend not to want something like be more like Beverly Hills, for lack of a description, but there's a language and a skill set. So I think you can break into any market, frankly. I know a lot of people up there. I've done a lot of business with those people in Montecito, and part of the Forbes network is Village Properties as well. Sometimes it does take your ability to have a brand, have a brand with you, or have some kind of brand that makes sense to those people. Also, it's important that you understand that market very acutely. That market is highly granular, street to street. I'm sure you know this already. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. So breaking in is a matter of being present. And I don't care what your budget is, but be present within the framework of your budget no matter what. Have a Starbucks, even though that's ridiculous. I don't know what's a coffee nowadays, $20 at Starbucks. So just be around. okay, and talk to people. You'd be amazed. I can't tell you how many times, like, I was on, and I wouldn't exactly call this luxury. I was on a Southwest flight from Cabo, and I got lucky enough that someone didn't sit next to me. My wife and I will fly to Cabo on Southwest, and we just take across the aisle from one another. And fortunately, somebody didn't sit in the middle seat because I'm sort of fat and sort of wide, as they say. So I started chatting with the guy next to me. Next thing you know, he's got a $10 million commercial property, which he purchased. Just chatting, and I referred it to somebody that I knew. So, like, these are the types of things, wherever you are, there is business to be had. Okay. And how are you presenting yourself and listening to what they have to say? So I don't know if I answered your question, but just go to Montecito or Hope Ranch, or all these land areas, or even where you live. It's booming over across the hill there for the wine country. It's booming. Isn't there a new resort up there or something like that? Los Olivos, I think there's a resort.
Oh yeah, San Ynez, Los Olivos. Yeah, which actually, yeah, now that you mentioned that, there is. Go ahead.
There's just endless things. Go to wine tastings. I mean, I don't mean to be focused on alcohol, but like you can stand at the bar at these wine tastings. I mean, there's little shops, and next thing you're talking to people, and next thing you know, I mean, I can't tell you. My wife sells real estate. I can't tell you how many homes that she sold just by chatting with people, just naturally on a beach in Hawaii, even though we're selling a Newport Beach. Or I remember we were in the Caribbean once, and Tara sold her most expensive house. We were living in Chicago. Some people on the beach were looking for a house in Chicago. So, like, wherever you are in the world, there's always opportunity. So in your situation, just be present in the markets you want to be in. And you've got a lot of markets close to where you live that you should be present in. Does that answer your question?
Powerful.
Yeah, that was great. That gives me a lot of places. I had joined a women's golf league in Goleta, and that was me trying to like start, and I wasn't getting anywhere. I was like, am I doing this right? Like, should I be trying something else? But this is extremely helpful.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you, Christina, for answering the question. And Mr. Clermont, are you available still? So I think you had a question, sir.
Yeah, I'm right here. Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm trying to find you.
Oh, right here.
Boxes. Oh, there you go. I got it.
All right. So, quick question, and so I'm getting a lot of luxury listing leads from Google organically. My challenge is, going against the entrenched. Like, I've got 165 sales in my geo farm in Clermont, but they're all in like the 800 to 1.5 range, and our luxury is like the 2 to 4 million marker. What would it take for me to be able to call you? Would you co-list a listing with me 50-50 to bring you, the big dog, on the appointment with me? Is that something you would entertain? And what would that look like as far as us working together?
Well, of course, I would always entertain that I'm in real estate. So, like, you were dangling money in front of me. Sorry. But I mean, I think that for your situation, I mean, I know Clermont is actually an incredible town. There's lots of luxury. Actually, I have really close friends. I'm love to lift weights. So there's a new gym there with Larry Wheels and Ryan Benson. So I'm really close friends with those guys. So they just opened a new gym there, which has been, I guess it was an old gym. I don't know, the town had to approve it. So I think that for you, there are entrenched players in the Clermont market. Maybe they don't want to allow, and I mean, I'm happy to do it with you. Don't get me wrong. But I think that it's probably to your best advantage to have a brand, like another layer to how are you going to get those listings. So perhaps like there's somebody that is in your community that is getting a little long in the tooth, which means they're getting older, and perhaps they need somebody who is you're obviously young, you have energy, you're really trying to increase your business. Perhaps it's a better solution. But I don't think anyone ever isn't willing to co-list.
I don't want just anyone. Number one, I want you. Number two, there's probably like about 5 to 6 of them controlling the luxury market share. And Mr. Clermont is their kryptonite because they know I'm getting close, right? But when they, I just need the home sold portfolio to be game over. But if I had a big dog like you, physically and literally, speaking of, how much do you throw up on bench? You still got it in you or what?
Oh, there you go. How much you guys the great line?
Well, I want to know. You got 225? How many reps?
Oh God, more than that. So I used to make this joke when I was recruiting agents because I thought it was funny, and I would say like, "What do you bench?" And I was a joke, and I'd be very serious, like, "What do you bench?" And they literally trying to tell me what they bench. Like I didn't even care, so I'm just joking around. I used to bench over 400 pounds, which makes me sound like an absolute schmuck. But if I do that right now,
hit 405 once or twice? Because I've hit it twice in my prime. That was it. But I want to know.
Twice. Okay.
You did it twice too?
Let me just tell you, if I were to do this for you now, okay, I would probably be in the hospital. So I don't know whether I want to really try that now. I actually have a funny story, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but I was challenged to a bench off. This is how immature I am. And the gentleman was older than me. And I looked at him and said, "There's no way you can lift more than me." And subsequently, you know, when you're benching heavy weights, you really need to warm up. You really need to train for it. It's really not appropriate just to go there like cold and start lifting weights. So this man who was like 20 years my senior was lifting like crazy, and I wanted to save face, and I actually ended up lifting more than him. But I was in so much pain at the end of this situation. I sort of rolled up, thank you, it was plenty. I ran to the restroom and like started screaming. So I don't know that I really want to do this anymore.
Yep.
No, I hear you. So, I mean, bottom line is, you know, I mean, it is so cutthroat in my geofarm for that. I mean, I dominated like, you know, but this is the next, you know, target, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, would you take my call if I hit you up and it was a rock solid listing appointment?
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Because
I'll
the
make an
gym's
introduction.
important, like, because I get a lot of them at the Clermont Club here in town. And, you know, I mean, I meet a lot of the, you know, luxury players by just rolling in, and I'll wear my Mr. Clermont tee and, you know, do my thing. And I pull them out left and right. I get them off Google. I get them off my magazine, but it's like, you know how it goes. So I can count on you.
I like your,
Take my
I
call.
like your brand. I like your brand. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll do the introduction, Anthony.
I
I'll
love
do
your
the
brand.
Send
introduction.
that group text. Okay, good.
Sir, yes, sir. Thank you so much for asking the question. All right, I think we got time for one more question. One more question for Mike. And if nobody else has a question, I think it'll be a good to just basically have like a closing thought. But I think Miss Belia just unmuted herself. Miss Belia, do you have a question?
Not a question, but I wanted to reach out to Mr. Fresno. I have his number and I texted him. I don't know if you're part of the EXP Luxury. They do have different coaching groups. They teach you how to do marketing to be able to get those luxury listings sold. So reach out to me. I'm part of the group with Wendy Goss out of Las Vegas.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Belia, for sharing. Appreciate that. All right, Mr. Mike, closing thought, my friend. What is the another Mikeism, you know, to summarize this whole conversation? What do you want to leave everybody with today?
I want to leave everybody with I think that what people make mistakes with in the real estate market as you grow your business is that you really need to cultivate, and I said this earlier, is like, what is your, people are most attracted to charismatic quality. And charisma comes in many different forms. So like, in other words, I'm not going to pick on Mr. Clermont, but Mr. Clermont is a classic example of feels great about himself. He's out there. He's got all this charisma. I'm guessing that you walk into a room and you light the room up. So that's one form of charisma, but you need to figure out what kind of charisma you have. And this is your inner genius, and you need to channel that. There's many, many different types, but you want to, as a real estate agent, be able to be noticed. You want people to react to you. You want people to like you. You want people to, like when you enter a room, notice. So that means different things to different people. Sometimes charisma comes in the form of intelligence. Someone's incredibly intelligent, and after 30 seconds, you want to hear everything they want to say. Sometimes, you know, this is not me. Sometimes people are incredibly good looking, and that's their energy. Yes, they get everything. Sometimes people have, I call the velvet ropes. The velvet rope is like, you know, the people should own clubs where, why does everyone want to be their friend? Like for whatever reason, it's like innate. Sometimes people are so kind, and their kindness propels them. So there's so many different ways. So what you need to do is like turn inside yourself and think about, what have you been most successful at? And because you're always selling, for lack of description, what in your life have you been most successful at? Why have you been successful at it? And then that is really how you create that charismatic quality that's natural for you, and ultimately will convert into sales.
Wow. Mic drop. Literally mic drop. That was so powerful. Thank you so much, Mike. I truly appreciate you, my friend. I know everybody got a ton of value. Guys, please make sure you follow Mike on Instagram. Make sure you also get his YouTube and make sure you subscribe, and also his podcast. Pick up his book, read the tape, and give him a huge shout out on social media as well if you got a lot of value like I did. I know I did, Mike. Thank you so much, my friend. I truly appreciate you and your time, and we'll see each other soon.
Yes, thank you, Leo. I really appreciate your time as well. This is a wonderful, wonderful Zoom call. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a great day. Thank you.